Hello, everybody. I have a book haul. Most of these came from the same place. One of them came from someplace else. So we'll do the oddball out first. This one came from the Little Free Library in Syracuse. That's Ohio, not New York. Um, it's called the Bookshop by the Bay. Um, Says two lifelong friends. Jess loves her work as a high-profile lawyer in Charleston, but when her husband cheats, she retreats to her childhood home on Cape Cod with her 30-year-old daughter, Caitlin, hoping to regroup with her longtime best friend, Allison. One bookshop by the bay. Allison's career has taken a hit after 20 years as an editor for the magazine Cape Cod Living, but when she learns her beloved bookstore on the Cape for a new is looking for new ownership, a new dream starts to form, and the summer that could change everything. As the two friends reopen the bookstore, they also open themselves up to the magic of second chances. Oh, is this maybe a sapphic romance? It just says St. Martin's paperback novel. Doesn't say what category it falls under. But since all the names are female, it makes it sound like perhaps there could be. I don't know. I guess I'll find out when I ever get to the point where I read it. The rest of these all came from the Athens Public Library. Some of them were freebies, some of them I paid for. I also picked up two that I checked out that day. So um, we'll start with these since they didn't fit in the bag. I have a copy of Columbus Monthly. This is the Global Eats issue from when is this? May 2022. Um, this is Natural History from June of 24. And this is Stock and Barrel, the pizza issue from fall 2023. I thought I might be able to use these in journaling and scrapbooking and the like. So those were freebies. Uh, I've also found as a freebie Itzhak Perlman, a tribute to Joshua Heifetz. Free CD, yeah. I think Itzhak Perlman's a very gifted, um, is he violinist? Very gifted. And I don't mind, some classical style music. These were also freebies off the little cart as you walk in. They usually have children's books. I found Hot Topics Planet Earth. I had somebody who was looking for space related stuff, so I was going to see if I should be interested in that one. I have one on night creatures and a lot about owls, but there's a little section on bats. Hey, just turned right to them. And I thought these might be fun to incorporate into a journal, especially there's some pages, and of course, do I find that page? No. That have, yeah, here, these like clear acetate type pages where you have image on the front and back. I thought that might be fun to include in a journal. This one is for Neko, and it's kind of a joke. When he was little, he loved this story, The Pokey Little Puppy. And we must have read it to him 10 times a day. We were always reading this thing. It got to where I could just rattle it off without even looking at the book. Can't do that anymore because it's been, 20 plus years. But um, we finally hid the book, thinking we won't have to read it if he can't find it. And lo and behold, he comes up to us with another copy of it. We're like, where'd that come from? He had like two or three copies of it. And we didn't realize that there were multiple copies. Um, so when I saw this on the freebie shelf, I was like, I'm getting that for him because this was his favorite story growing up. But the puggy little puppy is always getting in trouble. Now, we gotta figure out which ones are out of these, which ones were still off the freebie stuff. Because they have freebie sections in different parts of the library, which I didn't realize. I think these three were the freebies. This is Roald Dahl. It's called Kiss Kiss. Magnificent and Macabre. Roald Dahl's renowned collection of 11 romantically inclined, soul-chilling stories about the icy ironies of love. A brilliant and bizarre assortment of terror-tinted gems, polished by a master and set together to mesmerize the fearless and freeze the marrow of the innocent. Maybe this is something I should be reading for Valentine's Day. This one is The History of Danish Dreams by Peter Hoeg. Hoeg? Not sure how to pronounce his last name. He's the author of Smilla's Sense of Snow, which I will be reading in 2026. I only know that because I have a challenge that I've set up for a group on Goodreads, and I've already posted the 2025 one, so I started making the 2026 and put that one on there. So I will be reading it eventually. But this is by the same author. In a Danish feudal castle, a count orders his gates closed and all the clocks stopped to prevent the passage of time. But under the spell of Peter Hoeg's magical narration, time leaps, lurches, and hesitates. And when 400 years pass in the blink of an eye, a young man leads the way out of the musty, misty Nordic past into a 20th century exploding with war, opportunism, sexuality, suffering, and madness. Might be interesting. I picked it up because of the author. I haven't read any of their stuff yet, but knowing that it's coming. This one is Joyce Carol Oates. That again, I picked it up because of the author. I haven't read anything by them yet, but I thought, it's on I don't know about this particular novel, but the author is on the 1001 books you should read before you die list. This one is called We Were the Mulvaneys. The Mulvaneys are blessed by all that makes life sweet. A hardworking father, a loving mother, three fine sons, and a bright, pretty daughter. They are confident in their love for each other and their position in the rural community of Mount Ephraim, New York. But something happens on Valentine's Day, 1976, an incident that is hushed up in the town and never spoken of in the Mulvaney home, that rends the fabric of their family life with tragic consequences. It is the youngest son, Judd, now an adult, who attempts to reclaim his family's past by documenting their history and what seemed a special gift for happiness. The many secrets they kept from each other threatened to destroy them, but ultimately, We Were the Mulvaneys celebrates the miracle that allowed a family to bridge the chasms that had opened up between them and to reunite in the spirit of love and healing. Profoundly cathartic, this extraordinary novel unfolds as if Oates, in plumbing the darkness of the human spirit, has come upon a source of light at its core. Rarely has such an acclaimed writer made such a startling and inspiring statement about the value of hope and compassion. So that might be a pretty good one. I like how it's one of those nice floppy paperbacks. It's easier to hold, I think. 454 pages. Not too bad. I used to read that on a pretty regular basis, and now I'm lucky to read anything. Although I will say I have had a better January than I had any month last year. So Um, I think the four that are left are the ones I paid for. We have D.H. Lawrence, Sons and Lovers. It's got the text, the background, and criticism. I read The Rainbow by D.H. Lawrence. So it's roughly 420 pages for the text itself, and then there's all the other reviews and that type of thing. It's got poems, it's got some essays, psychoanalysis, literary criticism. There's a lot in here. That's really small print. With all the bibliographies and everything, it's over 600 pages. I picked up Dante Alighieri's The Inferno, which I'm surprised I haven't had to read it in any of my college classes. Um, in the first part of the epic, the Divine Comedy, Dante is led by the poet Virgil down into the nine circles of hell, where he travels through nightmare landscapes of fetid cesspools, viper pits, frozen lakes, and boiling rivers of blood, and witnesses sinners being beaten, burned, eaten, defecated upon, and torn to pieces by demons. Wow, okay. Enough visuals there. This one is called oh, um, The Cheese Monkeys, a novel in 2 semesters by Chip Kidd. Can you read that? It says, "Do you see?" I don't see anything that tells what it's about. It's got fairly big borders around the text. Well, somebody's marked something. A couple corners bent down. That looks like a poem. Looks like it's got a little bit of this and that thrown in there. A couple poems. There's some interesting formatting on that page. Oh! I didn't notice this before. Okay. Do you see? And then if you flip it over, good is dead. Now I'm really curious. And the last one is the Children's Classic Compendium with Treasure Island, Kidnapped, and Around the World in 80 Days. I have not read Kidnapped yet. That is on my list of books to read in the next couple months. And I just requested it from the library, not realizing that or not remembering that I had already picked this up and have a copy. Treasure Island is a favorite. I have read Treasure Island several times. And I have read Around the World in 80 Days. I have not read Kidnapped. That's an interesting combination. Okay, so here's what Katie did next, and what Katie did at school. Anne of Green Gables, A Little Princess, and The Wizard of Oz. That's a weird combination. Little Women, Heidi, and the Railway Children. Black Beauty, Wind in the Willows, and the Water Babies. Secret Garden, Peter Pan and the Treasure Seekers. Adventures of Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn, and the Prince and the Pauper. Jungle Book, Rip Van Winkle, Gulliver's Travels. Hound of the Baskervilles, White Fang, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Sherlock Holmes, Tom Brown's School Days, and Call of the Wild. I think I would have maybe made a different combination. Like this one, where they got Hound of the Baskervilles and White Fang, I would have put Call of the Wild with that one. And Jekyll and Hyde, I don't know where it would have fit. Doesn't really fit with anything. But anyway, I will be reading Kidnapped here shortly. And that is everything in this book haul. That's a pretty short little video for me. So anyway, that's all I've got for right now. There will be at some point, if I can ever get Neko rounded up to do it, Snack Crate, Boxu, and Soul Box. I'll have another Boxu here before I even get the previous two undone. Because that has renewed and it has been shipped, so it could be coming probably next week. So I guess at this point, remember to do all the YouTubey things: comment, like, share, subscribe, ring the bell icon to be notified of future uploads should the YouTube gods deem it worthy. And with that, I'll say goodbye. See you in the next one.